China cuts off ASML and TSMC, Wall Street spirals, and the global financial chessboard gets flipped. Welcome to yet another episode where the world economy looks more like a Jenga tower, with Trump yanking at every second block. Hello, my American friends. It's Lucas here, your concerned European, watching this geopolitical circus unfold like a slow-motion train wreck. And believe me, from this side of the Atlantic it looks breathtaking, in the same way Pompeii looked breathtaking just before the eruption. Let's dive in. The trigger? Beijing's move to decouple its financial system from Western dominance. China has now plugged its digital yuan into the payment systems of 10 ASEAN nations and 6 Middle Eastern countries. That's not a minor tweak. That's over 38% of global trade potentially bypassing the dollar and the SWIFT system entirely. That is the kind of shift that makes the dollar shiver in its boots. But why now? Well, Trump's fresh tariffs certainly played their part. You see, when you poke the dragon, sometimes the dragon breathes back. In 2022, China's trade with ASEAN reached a jaw-dropping $975 billion, up 120% since 2013. ASEAN is now Beijing's top trading partner. Yes, top. Not the US, not Europe, ASEAN. And that's not even the scariest part. The real quake rumbles from the semiconductor sector. In 2023, China spent $2.6 billion on lithography equipment from ASML alone. All gone. Vaporized. No more ASML, no more TSMC. Instead, China says, we'll build it ourselves, and we'll build it better. What forced this? US pressure on the Dutch government to revoke export licenses for ASML's deep ultraviolet machines. Machines worth $15 billion inside China. Imagine spending billions only to be told, sorry, no updates, no maintenance, no spare parts. It's economic sabotage with a bow tie. China's response: ruthless preparation. Already in 2022, they funneled over $75 billion into domestic semiconductor investment. They recruited over 50,000 engineers, many poached from Huawei, Silicon Valley, or returning home. And within just 3 years, China achieved what many experts thought would take a decade, a near self-sufficient chip supply chain. 60 to 70% of equipment now comes from Chinese factories. They don't need EUV anymore, those $200 million machines from ASML. Instead, Shenzhen-based Seika claims to have mastered its own DUV lithography capable of producing sub-7 nanometer chips. Remember the Huawei Mate 60 Pro? Yes, that was the first shockwave. SAMIC is now pushing for 5 nanometer, and even eyeing 3 nanometer production using AI-driven optimization and quad patterning techniques. In other words, China is not catching up, it's rewriting the game. The fallout. ASML's revenues plummeted 27% in the last quarter of 2024. Europe's technological backbone just took a direct hit. But this conflict isn't just silicon. China has started selling US Treasury bonds and divesting from American tech giants like Apple and Nvidia. We are now staring into the abyss of a full-scale currency war. And if Beijing plays its cards right, the first to bleed will be your wallets. Mortgages skyrocketing, tech stocks collapsing, pension funds disintegrating. And Trump? Well, he's not one to back down from disaster. He just threatened China. Beijing's answer? Bring it on. China could escalate tariffs on American high-tech imports, smartphones, laptops, crucial electronic components. Remember, they've previously slapped up to $60 billion in tariffs on American goods, including soybeans and automobiles. If this spirals, we could easily be looking at $100 billion in tariffs. And it gets nastier. China controls around 60 to 70% of the global rare earth market. In 2019, rare earths made up 16% of their exports. Without these, America's high-tech industry goes dark. No smartphones, no electric vehicles, no advanced defense systems. If that weren't enough, China can slow customs clearances, tighten food and pharma import inspections, delay 10 to 20% of goods, and play with currency values. In past years, they've devalued the yuan to its lowest point in a decade, making Chinese exports more competitive while blunting tariff impacts. If pushed, they could drop another 5 to 10%. Meanwhile, China isn't waiting for Washington. Its trade with the ASEAN region and Belt and Road partners has grown by 15 to 20%, and the fallout is global. Wall Street already plunged over 700 points. Even Fox News can't spin this into a victory dance. And now Europe's in the crosshairs too. Trump's latest genius move? Threatening 200% tariffs on European wine, champagne and spirits, unless Brussels changes its steel and aluminium tariffs. In 2023, Europe exported over $13 billion in alcoholic beverages to the US, with French wine leading the charge. If Trump imposes his tariffs, prices will skyrocket and European wine will vanish from American shelves. And while the West fights amongst itself, the BRICS alliance is growing stronger. 23 nations lining up to join, over 55% of the world's population, already inside the club. Together, they control 37% of global GDP. Nigeria alone brings $500 billion and over 200 million people to the table. Indonesia adds $1.3 trillion and 280 million citizens, both actively decoupling from the West. These countries no longer want the dollar. Nigeria, Venezuela, sanctioned by the US, have found new friends. The BRICS New Development Bank is stepping up as a serious alternative to the IMF and World Bank, offering non-dollar financing to developing nations, reducing global dependency on Western financial institutions. We are at a crossroads. The old dollar-dominated system is eroding, a multipolar world is emerging, and the decisions made now will shape global economics for decades. So, my dear American friends, do you see the danger? Do you feel what's at stake? This isn't just about trade or technology. It's about power. It's about whether democracy stays strong or whether autocratic regimes redraw the global map while we argue over who insulted whom on Twitter. In Europe, we've seen where this road leads. It starts with demonizing the press, reducing education to propaganda, creating fear, dehumanizing minorities, attacking political opponents. It never ends well. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And this rhyme is getting dangerously familiar. Your constitution stands above politicians. Lies remain lies, no matter how often they are repeated. People remain people, no matter their race, colour, or creed. Leaders must serve their people, not themselves. And coercion is never the path forward. The true art of leadership lies in win-win negotiation, not blackmail. The world is watching. We in Europe cannot save you, but we believe in you. We hope you will fight for your country, your constitution, your democracy, because if America falls, the whole democratic world trembles. The parallels to 1930s Germany are chilling. Stay alert, stay active. And if you found this useful, like, share, subscribe, and send it to anyone who still believes democracy is worth fighting for. Until next time.
I see the place on fire. Dollar stumbles like it's drunk. Trump freaks
once
out
again,
as China pulls
thank you
the
for your
plug.
time.
Clunk.
As you can hear,
Cuts off
there's even a song about this topic.
and
Link in the description.
TSMC. And Washington stands frozen. No plan, no key. They play chess, we play checkers, blind and slow. 30